Please like, share, and subscribe. Season's greetings. Season's greetings and happy holidays to all of my viewers out there. Well, folks, it is that time of the season. Time for the year-end review of my favorite shows and movies of the year. And it was really hard because, yes, you do have everybody's favorite bests and worst. But I also watched a couple of shows that I was invested throughout the years, throughout the different seasons, arriving at the season finale, which I was really enjoying. But the last season, a little bit of a letdown, so they did not make the list. So having said that, let's get to it, folks. So I guess we'll start off with television series, streaming series in general. One that almost fell off the radar here, and I just could not let it drop below fifth spot in the top 5 series of 2024 is House of the Dragon. Yes, I agree, not as good as the first season, but still, overall, given the situation of the writer's strike and everything else that was going on, I still very much enjoy the writing and the actors' interactions and the special effects, and we got even more dragons in this season. And for that reason, it does deserve a place on my top 5. In fourth position, I'm going to shock a lot of people out there by mentioning The Nautilus, a sci-fi under the water series loosely based on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which at first I was really afraid this was going to be a Mary Sue girl boss show. But in the end, they managed to work the scripts and the scenes, and everything just came together, and I'm happy to just be entertained by a new show that I was not expecting. I came across this series purely by chance, and I'm glad that I gave it a chance. Like I said, I'm expecting this to be a little bit controversial, so let me know in the comments down below. So moving on to number 3. We are still in the middle of the second season, so it's not even completed yet. But still, I have to mention this. Silo. The first season of Silo was really well done, really interesting. It is kind of dark, and there's a lot of concrete on the sets, which may not be for everybody, but the intrigue and the story and the mystery is keeping me glued. It is holding up pretty decent, and I have not read the books, so I have no idea what's going on or what's ahead in the storyline. But so far, it's building up, it makes sense, and boy oh boy, I've come across so many surprises. I'm expecting this to be some sort of a story throughout the season arc, and from one show to the next, everything is just head over heels. I really don't know what to expect next. So I've been really enjoying Silo, so that's definitely my top number 3. Number 2. Wow. It's pretty hard dethroning this one from number 1's position, but the Shogun was so solid throughout its season. I think everybody was not expecting this, and it just came across, it grabbed everybody by surprise. And wow, this is how you make a good show. Solid actors, solid performance, and I really got into the ambiance of the Shogun era Japan. So definitely a must see if you have not seen it. Number one will come to no surprise to nobody, I don't think. Nobody was expecting this show to be good. Not many people were expecting it to be bad, but it's a show that nobody really asked for. It was like this secondary sidekick thing going on in one of them Batman movies. And they decided to make a full featured season on television. And it was just mind blowing. The actors, the performances. I don't know how many times I was like, man, every time Sophia's on screen, she steals the entire everything. Yes, we are talking about the Penguin, which deserves the first place on this list. And I mean, I don't think anybody can argue with that. If you have not seen it, I do highly recommend it. It's not what you think. And I mean, I was maybe expecting, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting what we got. And what we got was masterful. I mean, Colin Farrell, with all this makeup, is able to act so well that it puts a shame pretty much any other performance out there this year. So let's go into a high contrast, going to my top 5 worst series this year. In the number 5 slot, I mean, like there's so many bad shows that we've gone through this year. It's really hard to pick the top 5. So I had to kind of put in there the disappointment factor of a show that was rebooted, I don't know, like so many times now. But in the past decade, the show has gotten so much worse that, I mean, you're scraping it off the floor now. It's really at the vomit stage. And I'm talking about Doctor Who, which unfortunately, the main actor, I've seen him in Sex Education with Gillian Anderson. Loved him in that role, loved that series. But in Doctor Who, it just does not work. And Doctor Who, as a whole entire show, the concept, everything they're trying to portray in this show is total garbage. And wow, how do you put him at number 5? I mean, it just gets progressively worse from here on, folks. Long time Star Trek sci-fi fan here, and Star Trek Discovery has been a disappointment year after year after year, to the point where I'm happy about the sale and everything else. Again, I'm so afraid of being disappointed that I cannot even get a glimpse of hope for this franchise. So yeah, the season finale of Star Trek Discovery, all I can say is good riddance. I'm happy it's finally over. It was pure torture. So yeah, on to number 3. And here, I mean, I didn't hate it. I really did not enjoy it at all. Agatha all along. Another Marvel wannabe shows that just another stuff about witches and the message and non-interesting storytelling. And strangely enough, I like watched the first episode and I'm like, well, maybe this won't be bad, but yeah, I don't think this will be good. But no, it wasn't middle of the road. It was just bad writing, bad acting, bad everything. I mean, maybe it should have been put down the list to number 5, but I mean, my expectations weren't high. It's not a franchise that I knew. I don't even know Agatha at all from the Marvel Universe. I was hoping to learn about this character, and yeah, no, it did not work out. So, on to number 2, folks. No surprise to anybody. And this probably will be debated as being the worst show, but then again, maybe not. Lord of the Rings of Power, Season 2. Wow. Have you thought it couldn't get worse than Season 1? It kinda does. I mean, I figured, okay, they'll be into their groove. Maybe they'll get things going. And from the previews, I kind of maybe figured that maybe it wouldn't be as bad. But yeah, it's really bad, folks. It is so bad. Like, I don't know how many times I actually fell asleep, had to wake up, kind of rewatched it where I kind of dozed off. And I was literally forcing myself, I think, to watch this to make reviews. And I kind of really hate myself for doing that. So yeah, I I wasn't having any expectations. It kind of could have been better than the first season, but it didn't work out that way. It was really bad. Now for my most hated series of the year has to be Star Wars The Acolyte. Man, that was a shite show. Wow. So bad in so many ways. Just not Star Wars. Just utter gibberish, garbage. None of it makes sense. I mean, at this point, you can't even glue the pieces together because, oh man, wow. I mean, this show has been reviewed to death, and I have not come across anybody that watched the show and liked it. Even less people, I mean, people started watching it and like right away gave up on it. Never even bothered to finish it. Another series that, man, I was just watching to see how bad it could get, and it got progressively worse show after show. Everybody says, wait until, episode 3. This is where it's going to hit rock bottom. But no, it does keep on falling off the cliff further and further as you go. So, folks, let me know what you think of my top 5 worst series of 2024. I'd really like to know what you guys think. On to the movies. The movies that I've enjoyed in 2024. And I mean, it's a short list, folks. And this one was not that hard. Number 1 is maybe going to surprise you, but let's start with number 5. This was not an easy selection for me. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice was a success at the theaters. Not the super success that people were expecting. And personally, I didn't even like the first Beetlejuice. So this one, I still was not super invested, but, and this is a big but, people that did like the first one did like this one. It's a genre, it has a cult following, and this movie aimed to please them. So if you're giving the fans, your cult fans, what they want, and they're happy about it, then I guess you've accomplished what you set out to do. So this is not my personal favorite, and a lot of people might debate stuff here, but this is my number 5. Moving on to number 4. A movie that kind of touched close to home, and like sometimes I like war movies. This is not exactly that. It was something different. It was the ending really surprised me, and the journey throughout the movie kept me interested, and I watched it from start to finish, and I'm like, at the end I'm wondering if I like the movie, Maybe as not as much as I was hoping because there was a lot of hype behind this movie, but I did find myself entertained while I was watching. I was glued, I was hooked, and I wanted to know the next event and the next thing that they're going to go through. And I really enjoyed Civil War. I mean, there's been a lot of controversy of people really liking this or really hating it, which is a good thing when you have a good mix. It's not for everybody, but I think it hits the mark of being entertainment for people. Moving on to number three. And again, it's giving people what they want. Deadpool, Wolverine. With their respective actors that people have grown up with throughout the years, they want to see them on screen. And even though I found it, kind of forced at times on screen, and the story didn't make much sense in any way, shape, or form, but there was a good chemistry. It was funny. It did put a smile on my face. I did enjoy it. It was not necessarily thought provoking or anything like that. It was just a fun movie, and everybody I talked to were like, yep, I was entertained. I liked this movie. And they even go as far as to say it's like one of the best Marvel movies since probably Endgame or stuff like that era. So we're going back 10 years. So this is the best that Marvel can do in the past decade. It deserves a notch. So there you have it. Moving on to number two. I mean, it really started the year on a good foot. I was so looking forward to some more good movies, which we didn't really get throughout the year. But Godzilla vs. Kong. I mean, this movie did not have a super mega budget of 300 million and it went nowhere. No, it had a adequate budget, adequate super story, everything kind of meshed, worked together, and it was what people wanted. A big monster movie, and we got that, and it was entertaining. I had a lot of fun watching this, and unfortunately, everything started going downhill throughout the year from there, which really made this year, like, I think one of the worst years for movies in general. But it started off on a good foot, so if you haven't seen this movie, I do recommend it. Moving on to number one, and this one, again, I came across it randomly. It's not something that I knew or read about beforehand. My number one movie of the year is Wild Robot. I mean, rarely do I watch a movie that makes me feel like 30, 40 years younger. Yes, I'm going back to being a young kid and being amazed by everything I'm seeing on screen, getting involved into the story, having these emotional surges. Like, I literally had a tear watching this show, actually, movie. I mean, it just blew my mind having me feel something. I mean, I'm no spring chicken, and for me to actually start feeling something from deep within and connecting it to what I'm seeing on screen was great. I have not experienced this in a long time. And again, everybody that I spoke to, I was encouraging people to watch it. Nobody came back to me disappointed. And everybody was happy that I recommended this movie. It's a movie for all ages, family, if you're single, no matter what, single mom, working mom, single parent. This movie is great for everybody. I mean, I'm happy that there was another super good movie this year, and this is definitely it. Moving on to the worst movies. Again, the list is so long, it's hard to fit it into five. But I'm going to give it a try, folks. My number five worst movie of 2024 is The Crow. A remake nobody wanted. Why can't we just let good be good? There's so many remakes again this year. This one, man, really, really, really bad. Really bad, and I'm not even gonna try to describe it. I wasn't, I don't, I wasn't expecting it good going in because I've seen the one with Brandon Lee, and I've seen a couple of attempts at rebooting it, and it just does not work. It's lost its soul. No, it's got nothing, folks. Not worth it. Skip it. Moving on to number four, which is by far, I think, one of the most commentated reviews I've done this year, the movie Breathe. I've received so much feedback from this girl boss, Mary Sue, wannabe diverse, uh, woke garbage. I mean, it has great actors. I saw the trailer and I'm like, this might be good. It has the potential, it has the good actors there to bring the performances above and beyond. Really, these actors could have done so much given a good script, given good scenes, given good anything. Unfortunately, it is total garbage. Everybody just wants to vomit at this show. This movie had absolutely, other than a stellar cast, the directors, producers, scenes, everything, nothing made any sense. I mean, you go from one scene to the next. Well, why didn't they do this? It was quite obvious to do that. It's just, well, because the script wants it to be like this. The writers, I don't know how they got this great cast and gave them so much good garbage. Nobody liked it. And to the point where people are outright, a lot of people agree with me or disagree with me, but we kind of have an understanding of where we're going and it's mainstream. But this movie, I mean, people were revolted. They're like, I need to comment on this. Everybody was hoping for something good, and everybody was disappointing to the point where they were triggered and had to voice their opinions on this movie. Really bad movie. On to number three, I guess. Gladiator 2. A movie that made no sense. It tried to pay homage to the first movie, but there's so many parallelisms that every scene feels like a rehash of the original to the point where why are you even making a second movie? Just give us something new, something interesting. But story wise, they're like copying it, but in a very bad way. It's like somebody rewrote the first movie on his way to school in the morning in the bus, and you can't even read your own writing afterwards, but you give it to the teacher anyways, and it just ends up being this total washout mess of whatever. I mean, like Denzel Washington is one of the best actors, and his role, his lines, nothing makes any sense. But moving on to number two, obviously, a lot of people were like, oh, well, we tried to make a bad movie out of the first one, but you guys still liked it, so we're going to, trigger you even worse on this one. Joker 2, Folie à deux, was an attempt, like, it showed that given the success of the first one, everybody was forced to make a sequel and nobody wanted to be there. Nobody wanted to do this. We'll just throw trash onto the wall and show that to people. And yeah, nobody liked it. Nobody liked it. No, it doesn't even have a glimpse of potential in here. It was just garbage. Moving on to, I guess, the worst movie of the year, the worst flop, or the worst everything. I mean, Borderlands. A video game that I've seen the ads. I was never interested in playing the game. But I've had friends that tried it out, play it, had fun, couple of hours, moving on. And I figured maybe this movie would have some good scenes, but moving on. Not really. I didn't like the action. I really like the main actress in this. I do kind of have a thing, but yeah, I could forgive so much, but this was just a mess. This was like Mad Max Furiosa on steroids, but in a bad way. Really bad, insufferable. I hate it when we make teenagers insufferable. And yeah. So that's my worst movie. A lot of like Breathe also had insufferable teenagers. So I'm just gonna make a side note here and maybe ask people from Hollywood that have young children and teenagers in their shows to maybe go out and watch Stand By Me and showing how kids interact with one another. Bring it down, bring it real, and something about nothing can go a long way. Anyways, I just also would like to make a couple of honorable mentions here. Season finale of SEAL Team. I've been watching SEAL Team now for what, 7 years? Not the best season, so not worth mentioning as a best or worst, but a series that I enjoyed overall. Season finale arrived here and there, and it finished on a good note, but it was time that it finished. Same thing goes for Snowpiercer. I really enjoyed like the 2 or 3 first seasons of Snowpiercer. Then it's getting into rehash, and again, I'm happy that it's over and done with. There's so many things in the last season. I don't know if it's because of the writer's strike or they're just running out of money at this point. It was time for it to end. It wasn't all that good of a last season, but again, I'm happy that I watched it. I enjoyed it for the most part, but time for it to come to an end. Same thing goes with Tulsa King. I did like it. I do enjoy it. Lots of fun. Not super great, but it's definitely up there and worth recommending if you're looking for something entertainment. Uh, Tulsa King, a really good show. Another good one is Dark Matter. I really enjoy this show. I'm not sure exactly where it's all heading, but I've been enjoying it so far. I have not read the book. Another good show that I've been enjoying is Lioness Special Ops. Yes, girl boss, but I need kind of something to replace my SEAL Team military show of the week, and this kind of did it for me. So there you go. Just a couple of honorable mentions. Anyways, folks, let me know in the comments down below your favorites and worst of the year. What do you think of my picks? Let me know in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. It would really help out my little channel. Again, everybody, season's greetings. Happy holidays. I wish you all the best during the season, and hopefully everybody starts the new year on a good foot. Until the next video, folks, take care and bye for now.